Kaspa, the most dangerous altcoin of 2025. Dangerous, but for who? Is Kaspa dangerous because it's upside, or is it insane? Or dangerous because bag holders might become the exit liquidity when hype fades? And here's the thing, Kaspa is not just some GPU nostalgia chain, and it's definitely not the next Litecoin. I've traded enough cycles to know exactly what it looks like when an underdog flips the script. Kaspa already proved it once. But here's the brutal truth. Hype can make you rich and hype can bury you alive. So today we're asking ourselves this question. Is Kaspa 2026 biggest asymmetric opportunity, or is Kaspa 2026 the biggest threat? So the very first question we need to ask ourselves is, if Kaspa's technology is truly advanced, why is it still invisible to the average investor, and why does no one really talk about it? And that's kind of weird because the tech is miles ahead, right? But the spotlight is still stuck on other coins, right? On celebrity coins. The classic reason, I guess, for that is that we are just being very early, to be honest. The builders on the chain and on Kaspa are obsessed with the engineering and the technology behind it. And that's not what most people are obsessed about. People are obsessed with dopamine, they're obsessed with quick raises in the market and something they can easily understand and make money fast. So I truly believe one of the biggest reasons Kaspa is such an underdog, even though the technology again is so far ahead, is I think Kaspa puts engineering first, right? And marketing last. So most investors don't really read the white papers anymore. They follow memes, they follow influencers, and they follow liquidity flows, right? That's what I just said. Kaspa's team building a monster of consensus model, that's true, but they never really put it into any marketing. So I guess one big reason is that maybe they want to keep it like that. They want to keep it a low key coin in the sense of the marketing, because they just know it's gonna be important in the future just because of the technology and people will understand it. But a breakthrough is really hard to explain, okay? It's really hard to explain what is gonna be the breakthrough for Kaspa. But for now, I think we all know the power behind it, and maybe retail attention will come, right? And will basically drive something up here in Kaspa. But for now, it doesn't seem like it. And especially if no one is focused on any marketing from their side. But what I always feel is every time I record a video, I speak about Kaspa, there's a very big opportunity to see a lot of views and a lot of people being engaged and commenting below the videos. And that shows me that Kaspa, on top of like XRP and these kind of coins, have a very, very strong community that understand it. And obviously one of the biggest reasons why people are so in love, if you didn't know so far already, I did a video about Kaspa, is that Kaspa can process blocks parallel, right? And that most chains cannot do that. So at the end of the day, Kaspa is way, way, way more faster. It's more multi-dimensional in general, right? And it can add blocks simultaneously without choking like in any other chain. So speed is insanely fast. It's not a one lane road. It's a road with two lines so far, and it has insanely fast confirmations. It has high output, kind of like Solana trade style, to what most people know, because most people trade on Solana. It was a fair launch. There was no VCs, right? No BS, which is amazing to see how crazy and how fast Kaspa actually grew, considering that there was no hype in the beginning and no VC funding. And it was a fair launch, and that I think is gonna come back, right? The same as we saw it in the beginning in Kaspa, that's what we're gonna see in the future again. On top of that, we have a very, maybe people are not so interested in that, but it's important. It's energy efficient, right? All of these blockchains take a lot of energy. We have real-time block visibility. The transactions appear instantly, even before they're fully confirmed, for transparency. And at the end of the day, there's many, many more benefits on Kaspa, but that is one of them. And until people understand this technology, crypto needs to have a bigger adoption, and people need to be more interested, in my opinion. Now, another question is, and that's what we're seeing at Kaspa on a big time scale, is why are whales still aggressively mining Kaspa, but they never speak about it, they never shill it. And one of the big reasons is, at the end of the day, they will talk on their own cost. You need to understand, when big whales mine Kaspa aggressively, and I even did back in the times we were mining Kaspa aggressively, is that when they talk about it and the price increases, obviously their cost is going to increase, right? So shilling brings attention, and that's what they don't want. People don't want, at the end of the day, attention. And that's also one of the big reasons why maybe no one really wants to do marketing and brings attention, because attention brings price rises, and price rises means more competition, and more competition means rising mining difficulty and shrinking the profit and the margins for these kind of big whales that are mining Kaspa at the end of the day. So it's not in their interest to shill, to speak about it, because it would increase their own costs. So that's another reason why it makes sense that this project is being so low key and no one really wants to speak about it. So if Kaspa is the fastest proof of work chain ever built, one of the best projects in crypto, why isn't it listed on Binance or Coinbase or some of the biggest exchanges we know? And some of the big reasons why that is happening is because you need to understand that people make money on big things like Bitcoin and so on, and that's what they want to push. And the problem is that Kaspa can't be, I mean, it's good for us, a problem for them is it can't be controlled. Exchanges always prefer assets where they can influence the supply, they can stack, they can use the liquidity, right? All of these kinds of things. So when a exchange or, these exchanges obviously have their ties to their governments and so on, without going into big conspiracy theories here, but you know what I mean, guys, there's no interest for them to do it, right? So they will just keep it small. So at the end of the day, regulations, a mix of they cannot control it. And obviously there was no pre-sale, no VCs holding any bags. There's no token treasury to pay for listing. It's like an ethical project launch, right? And that's why, since it's ethical and that's how they lined it out and that's how they did the fair launch, they just don't fit into these kind of places too much, right? Which again, we feel every day if you are Kaspa holder, because there's not just enough volume coming in, because it's very difficult for the average person to buy it, but still it speaks for the project itself, and the technology, in my opinion, will win and people will understand and then will make an effort to get it. Is this long sideways trend a sign of weakness or pressure building up before a violent breakout? And in technical analysis, I've said it many, many times, if you look at the Kaspa chart, you will see that we have a strong sideways trend, which is a form of stability. We're forming stability. The more stability we have, and the less drops we have, so we move sideways. It means liquidity gets bought up very fast. So if the coin goes down a little bit, it gets bought up pretty fast by main holders. And if you check smart money is accumulating Kaspa, is holding Kaspa, and every time it drops is buying more. So in this sense, this sideways trend is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength and a lot of pressure. So very positive. If Kaspa gets one major catalyst, a big listing, a narrative shift, institutional attention, do you really think the price will survive? I truly believe that there needs to be a catalyst. If it's retail coming back in, if it's just like high performance and then retail wants to FOMO in, is it a big listing? Is it the team at the end of the day focusing on a little bit more marketing? Or there's a narrative shift in the future where people are actually really sourcing out these kind of projects that have a good, strong fundament and are actually not controllable, right? Which currently obviously is not. It's always against the normal idea of governments and control. But if that happens, I truly believe there could be a big move in Kaspa. So I truly believe it makes sense to not go all, it makes sense to have Kaspa holdings, maybe not going all in and holding. There's other projects, in my opinion, can make you far more percentage in the next couple of months and years coming up. But it's definitely something where I truly believe you should have a bag in. And then obviously the downside would be what happens when a fundamentally strong project like Kaspa stays quiet for too long. Does it die or does it load up for an reaction move? And again, technically saying with all of the sideways trend, it looks more like an overreaction move in the future. And we had that in the past if you look at the chart of Kaspa. But again, we need this catalyst. And if this catalyst stays out too long or there's no strategic move, then it might just die out and no one is interested in it anymore. But so far, I don't believe that. I truly believe that people understand the value of Kaspa and keep holding it, and they don't care if they hold it for a next decade. And I truly believe, again, having a bag and being positioned and just buying and accumulating and DCAing in definitely makes sense if you are a crypto opportunist and if you believe in the future of crypto. Look, hype is a weapon. Fundamentals are the filter. And timing decides who gets rich and who becomes liquidated. Kaspa has both hype, potential, and strong fundamentals, if not the strongest fundamentals in the space. But timing is one of the question mark. If you want more brutal, honest crypto analysis like this one, no hype, no bias, make sure to subscribe, because the next Kaspa update might be the one that changes everything.